Hey TWiCh, Dr. Nathan Cashin here, exploring chiropractic and trying out for a third time my idea of doing a weekly, or around there, chiropractic news show. So start of the new year, this one's going to be pretty quiet. I've took the week off just because of the holidays, but want to keep experimenting. And what I'd like to do this time that's going to be a bit different, and I'm just blabbering here as it goes live and gets sent out to all the different places. What I'm going to be doing differently today is I think it'd be cool to have as not just a podcast or some other type of news show, weekly news show, but I'd love to have it on Amazon Alexa as a weekly update in your news feed. I do like to ask Alexa to give me, my news in the morning, to have a routine. So we'll try that by talking about the headlines only, and then going into a little bit more detail. Although today it's not going to be that easy because there's really not a heck of a lot to talk about. So you are listening to This Week in Chiropractic, and here are the news headlines. I need a jingle to go right there. That's what I've got to do. And let me try that again because I'm really going to have to change. There we go. Let's try that again. You're watching This Week in Chiropractic, and these are the headlines for the first week of January 2021. New Year's Eve was almost canceled due to Pope Francis experiencing sciatic pain. Pope Francis announced that he would not lead the Vatican's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day celebrations due to sciatic pain, in a statement provided by the Vatican. This is the first time the Pope has missed New Year's Eve or Christmas celebrations, but not the first event that he has skipped. Many chiropractic Facebook groups were posting, searching for chiropractor near Vatican City, Italy. Press release from the World Federation of Chiropractic announced the resignation of Vivian Kill as the WFC president. The board of directors announced that Dr. Vivian Kill of the Netherlands has stepped down from the office of the president of the World Federation of Chiropractic, citing a need to focus on her full-time clinical responsibilities as the owner of a busy, multidisciplinary practice in the wake of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. This, of course, comes on the heels of the resignation of multiple members of the WFC Research Committee, including Greg Kotchuk and Jan Hartviksen, I believe, among others. The board anticipates holding elections and naming a new president in January. In the meantime, Vice President Michelle Myers of the United States will be assuming responsibility as interim president and board chair. A recent editorial from the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy calls for a time for a new normal in musculoskeletal physical therapy practice after COVID-19. The abstract states that it is time for musculoskeletal physical therapists to grasp the opportunity provided by the COVID-19 pandemic to provide care that is, 1, primarily active, 2, focused on self-efficacy and self-management, and 3, far less reliant on passive therapies. This is a bit of a no-duh. The research has been stating this for the past probably decade, if not more. But I think COVID-19 has presented a nice opportunity to emphasize the need for this. I think mainly this hinges on providing home-based exercise, telehealth, and that type of thing that is really patient-centered and active rather than relying on those passive therapies provided in the clinic by physical therapists and by chiropractors. The full paper is not available to me, but hopefully we'll get access to that pretty soon. And those are the headlines for this week in chiropractic news, the first week of January in 2021. So I do want to thank Craig Liebenson for pointing out this paper in his First Principles of Movement group. They've been talking a lot about self-efficacy, self-management, and active therapies, and they've done a bunch of webinars talking about this concept, as well as created a mentor program. And so this, I think, is an interesting paper. I'm bummed that I can't, even through my, questionable ways, get access to this paper. But hopefully in due time I will. Let me know if you've read it, if you've got thoughts on musculoskeletal therapy, with manual therapy in general after COVID-19. I was an author on a paper that was published by World Spine Care and the Global Spine Care Initiative on providing remote care, not necessarily telehealth, but remote care during COVID and other times when direct access to practitioners is unavailable. And so I think this is going to be relevant to those recommendations that we made in that paper as well. Really curious what's going on with the World Federation of Chiropractic. Obviously it's a political organization. There's going to be a lot of turmoil especially between, the member organizations. A big push recently, certainly led by Dr. Richard Brown, the Secretary General of the WFC, to focus on evidence-based care, this idea of being EPIC, providing EPIC care, evidence-based, patient-centered, informed care. And yet, interesting that just a month or two ago, numerous members of the research committee resigned. It sounded like there wasn't much information on it, but it sounded like it had to do with corporate sponsorship of the WFC, which may have been influencing the research committee, including, I believe, a pharmaceutical influence. All of this is conjecture. I don't have any firsthand knowledge of what's going on there, but that the president of the WFC, who I believe only started in May 2019, so just over a year, about 18 months, that she was active as the president. Obviously, the reasons given, are very valid. As the director or owner of a multidisciplinary clinic, it's been very difficult during the pandemic. I'm sure they've had to make cuts of staff, and so her role in that position has probably become, much more burdensome. So I hope that's, truly all that's going on. I hope there's not much else that is happening in the WFC, but I definitely look forward to Michelle Myers taking an interim position. I interviewed her on the Exploring Chiropractic podcast, one of my most memorable interviews. She's a very personable, a big champion of the younger generation, of the millennial chiropractor. She had a paper on that. And so I'm very interested to see what she does as president and board chair in the near future. This story about the Pope, I think, is just really obviously sad. I mean, nobody should be experiencing sciatic pain that causes that level of disability that he can't stand. Of course, he's 84. But interestingly, some comments on a Facebook thread did mention that there is a chiropractic organization that is connected, a Catholic chiropractic organization that has connections potentially with the Vatican, the Holy See, whatever that. I don't know anything about Catholicism, and so they may be able to provide chiropractic care to the Pope, but too bad that he had sciatica and interrupted the New Year's Eve festivities. Pope Francis said that sciatica is very painful, very painful. I don't wish it on anyone. And that certainly is true. So that's it for this slightly newer format of This Week in Chiropractic. I'll continue experimenting with this, and if I can get the time down to, about 30, 45 minutes of time, then I think it could be worth spending my time on this. I certainly enjoy it. It's fun to look into popular news and the research to see what's going on. Leave me your comments and your feedback, please. This is streaming on Twitch. I may try streaming it to Facebook Live, once I actually decide to make this a regular thing. But I also post a recording to YouTube. I'll have to edit this one down just a little bit because of the technical difficulties there. Give me some recommendations. I'm going to try next time using some different software. I'm using Streamlabs OBS right now. Very powerful, but not quite as intuitive for me. I'm going to jump over to Ecamm Live, which I've used previously for Facebook Live. I can go out to YouTube. I think I can go to Twitch as well. I'm not sure what the best place I'm using Twitch because nobody follows me right now, and just a great way to experiment and not feel any embarrassment or shame. Most people won't see this until I post it to YouTube. So please give me feedback. Let me know if you have recommendations on where to get chiropractic news, on what things to cover other than things in the popular news and research. And send me an email, nathan@exploringchiropractic.com. You can follow Exploring Chiropractic on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. I don't think I have anything on TikTok right now. And of course, Twitch. All at Exploring Chiro. Thanks for paying attention and joining me again today, and we will see you next week.